Alright, continuing along with our HighPoly, we're going to knock out the corner pieces here, and these are the rubber areas that would protect the data pad if it was dropped or bumped. Something like this where it'd be used mainly in a military type scenario. It's kind of important to have details like this that help show where it would hit, what kind of damage it might take on it. And so we're just going to knock these out real quick in the model, and just going in and selecting the verts and the edges and welding everything back together. And that's already done there. So just select the edges again, shift drag, and we're going to go and just move this along, try to keep the overall shape of the concept going here, and just align, make that planar, and drag these out, and we'll just go ahead and connect that and use the nice set flow option that will help smooth things out. And it doesn't always work as well as it should, but the set flow option is a great thing to quickly get rounded shapes to flow correctly and basically just be spread out in a manner that gives good smoothing. And I use it quite a bit for stuff like this. And so there we go. I'm going to go ahead and thicken this up a little bit. So you can see how it's smoothing out there. And my edges are probably getting a little bit too tight, and it's something I got to be wary of. And so I'll zoom out a little bit and see, okay, they're working pretty decently, but I'm going to go ahead and scale this up a little bit. And by doing that, it expanded my edges a little bit more and softened them up, so it'll let me smooth it out a little bit better, and they won't be so tight. And so I'm playing with a few different things there. I was going to see if maybe changing the shape up a little bit would add a little bit to it. And undo's your, Control Z and undo is one of your best friends in modeling. So I mean, that looks interesting, but I'm not going to go with that. I'm going to keep it closer to the concept and try to stick on target with that. You can see the corner from the data pad is sticking through, and we'll go ahead and fix that later, but for now we'll go ahead and just focus on this corner piece. So now I'm getting all my edges selected because I'm going to go ahead and chamfer these, and so that's looking pretty decent. So that's what it looks like once they're finished and put in place. So it's looking alright. Getting pretty close to being done with the details. We're going to still need the speaker details and the light details, and we're going to actually use floaters for those. Touch upon that a little bit, but we're going to go ahead and borrow that and that piece right there, mirror it and rotate it and bring it up, and we're going to use this to kind of create a little bit of just different surface detail that's not in the concept, and this will just help break up the straight edges a little bit and add kind of a little bit of interest and flair to it. It's nothing huge. It's not going to be any drastic design change, but it adds just a little bit of subtlety to the overall shape and silhouette. So it should be a nice little addition here. Just quickly moving verts around, and this is basically how I work most of the time. So getting pretty happy with that. Go ahead and delete these out, all the stuff we're not going to need. You'll see I used the snap options again, and I use those for pretty much everything. And you'll see once you start getting into it and using them for yourself that they're very useful. They help save a lot of time and headache with trying to weld things and things not matching up right. And so there. So now that we got that modeled, so the detail that we want, the inset, and I'll snap that down to there. And you got a couple edges here that aren't lining up, so we'll go ahead and weld the ones that do line up right, and we'll go in and we'll want to correct that a little bit. So there, that was an easy fix. And So we're seeing, okay, that edge is connecting to there. We don't really need that because it goes off into the void and it's not really helping with anything. So we'll go ahead and drag this down, weld that there, and that's going to work pretty good for us. So we'll go ahead, bring that up there and snap that together. So basically what we're doing now is just cleaning up the mesh, making sure everything's going to flow together nicely, weld together, and not leave any holes in it. So we'll just continue this out, going out, and you can see I cleaned it up, removed some of the edge loops. And you don't want to get too carried away in the beginning because when you have more geometry it's harder to work with. So you want to try to keep things a little bit smoother, a little bit lower poly, and it'll help you when you're working your shapes out and detailing up the high poly. So you can see how it looks now, toggling the symmetry modifier on, and that's looking pretty nice. It's adding a nice little detail to the top there. So the next part is we're going to go ahead and model it speaker detail in, and that'll be coming up in the next video. So we're going to go and just tidy a few things up before we head out. Round these corners out a little bit more. It's got a little bit better feel to it now, and that will be it for now, and we'll move on to the next video and detail the high poly up and move on to the low.